One of the things I notice when I'm out and about fishing is that an awful lot of anglers out there struggle to get the best from their fishing line. Now what I mean by that is they're not loading their spools correctly, and when I talk to them about line lay and loading their reels with line, quite often they'll confess that they struggle to get the optimum knot to make sure the line is secure on the spool and that connection doesn't spin round and round and round on the initial few turns as they try to load line onto their reels. What I'd like to do today is to show you how to correctly and efficiently load your fishing reels with line. So, first things first, line. I like a good quality line. I like a thin line with a high breaking strain, and the line we're going to be using today is Berkeley Connect CM90 in 12 pound. It's got a diameter of 0.34 and for me it works very, very well. It's supple, it's soft, it knots well, it just does what it says on the tin, and this is what we're going to load onto our Penn 7000 reels. The problem with modern line is that in the manufacturing process, the factory where this line is loading onto these spools is very, very warm, and the line is loaded on in big coils, as you can see, probably about 100-110 mil coils, and as it cools down it memorizes that coil. Now the reel we're going to load this onto, more often than not, is a lot smaller diameter than 110 mil. So what you can suffer with is actually the line wanting to coil off your narrow diameter spool because it remembers its large diameter on the spool of the bulk spool that it comes from the manufacturers. Let's put that down. Now to get rid of that, what we do quite simply is take a maggot bowl, put the spool in the maggot bowl, get a number of heavy carp fishing leads, put them on top of the spool, and then add hot water to the maggot bowl until the spool is under water. Now the water needs to be hot enough so you can only just get your finger in it. Leave it in that hot water for 10 minutes, and in that 10-minute period what will happen is the line will absorb the heat, it will become super limp and soft, which means when we load it onto our fishing reel, it's forgotten its 100-110 mil diameter, and as it cools on the smaller diameter of the reel spool, it will be a lot happier to stay in that smaller diameter, and therefore it'll be a lot better behaved. The other benefit of having it in the warm water is the water lubricates the line so that when we load it onto our reel, we get the very, very best loading that we can possibly do. So let's add some hot water to this and get this line nice and soft. So the line's only been in the hot water for about 10 minutes, but you can really see how soft and supple this nylon carp line has become. This is what we need to ensure that when we load it on our smaller diameter reel spools, it behaves well, and as it cools, it memorizes the new diameter of the reel and performs at its very, very best. Let's get it loaded onto the reel. Take approximately 30 centimeters of your reel line, double it up, like so. In the doubled line, create a loop and put a single twist into the loop, like so. You can see a figure of 8 forming, and then put the tag loop through the middle of the knot and gently start the knot forming. You can there see a figure of 8. Lubricate the line, pull the knot down, and there we have a nice loop in the end of the line. At this point, trim off the tag end, dispose of the waistline carefully. Now this is where the knot starts to work. We take a length of the main line, form a loop in it, and put it through the loop we've just tied in the end. I'm going to pretend my finger is the spool. We slip it over the spool, pull the line down tight, and as you can see, as I start to turn, the lasso tightens on my finger. This is how we connect our line to the spool. Pass the loop, the lasso loop, over the spool, 2 fingers needed, and you can see the lasso on the reel spool there. As I pull in the direction of the rotation, the lasso tightens. If you put the lasso on back to front, what you'll find is the line will not tighten up and it will just simply spin on the spool. If that's the case, take the loop off, rotate it 180 degrees and put it back on. The line now is nice and tight and secure on the spool. As we start to wind against the lasso, the line tightens and it will go on beautifully. So we've had the line in the hot water for 10 minutes. Now's the time to load it onto our reels. To create stability in the reel and make line loading a lot easier, what I've done in this particular instance is I've put my Penn 7000 reel onto my JRC cart rod. I've only got the butt of the rod, but it gives me stability and a nice firm handle to both hold on to the reel, but also to use my left hand to create tension to make sure that I put the line on with the correct amount of tension onto the spool. So what I'm going to do now is take the lasso knot that I've already put on the end of my reel line, thread it through the butt eye, bring it down, put it on the reel and start loading line onto the reel. Okay, just a quick recap. We've had the line soaking in the hot water now for 10 minutes. It's nice and limp. We've tied a lasso knot into the end of the line and attached it to our reel. What we're going to do now is, using the right hand to both support the rod and put some tension into the line, we're going to start loading line onto the reel until we get it filled to the right level. Okay, so now you can see that I've filled my Penn reels with Berkeley line right to the very edge. This will ensure that I get the very best efficiency from my reels and I can get the best casting range I can possibly get from it. All I need to do now is cut the line, secure the line in one of the line clips, and this reel and rod is ready to take carp fishing.